Why is it normal? Why is it acceptable that a grown man is expected to take care of another grown man just because you're in the diaspora? Now, I've seen situations where a grown man will live with their mom, age of 40, have kids, not have a job, but a brother, a cousin, or a relative, because they're in the diaspora, they're expected to take care of them. That I don't understand. And sometimes when you try to speak about it or voice it, you get a lot of backlash. And there are these theories or these stories that are made up amongst Zimbabweans that if one person makes it, and making it meaning you've gone to the diaspora, it means that you are the chosen one and you have to take care of the whole family. I don't understand why that mentality is normal. I don't get it. Now, you see, if you have dreams or you have aspirations, and sometimes you have goals in life, are you ever going to reach your goals if you have all these expectations? I've seen situations where someone makes very bad decisions, which ends them up in a very serious situation. And guess who's expected to take care of that? You, because you're in the diaspora. Someone may make a decision to drink, drive, have an accident, and because you're in the diaspora, you have to extinguish all the problems that are being done by this person who's making very bad decisions. To me, it puts a lot of pressure on someone who's trying to make something out of their own life. And it is very sad. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that this is happening to me, but I've seen this happen time and time again. In fact, I've sat down with quite a few people back home, and one day I asked this question, and I said, because there's a family member who's quite successful back home, and I asked them, what is expected of you now that you have your own business and it's successful? And what he told me surprised me. He told me that it was his duty or his job to make sure that his uncle's children, his brother's kids all went to school. So he took it upon himself to do that. Well, I'm not saying that is wrong. And of course, if you can afford it, then of course go for it, But my question to you all is, when has it become an expectation? I feel like if you go to the diaspora, you become a sacrificial lamb. You just have to do what people ask you to do and no questions asked. And I think in the spirit of wanting to improve yourself or achieve your goals, sometimes you may not even be able to reach your goals because some of these things, some of these demands that are expected, or some of these demands that we're given are so high. Someone can actually take a child to a private school and expect you in the diaspora to take care of that. And there's this myth that in the diaspora, money grows on trees. Money is just there. You're living in the diaspora, therefore you have a better life. I don't know how people have gotten this idea that just because you are in the diaspora, you're living a better life. If we were to reveal what some people are going through in this country or wherever you are in the diaspora, you'll be shocked to find that there's a lot of depression, there's a lot of anxiety, and a lot of debt as a result of all these monies that are being sent back home and all these expectations. Now, I'm making this video because I know there are a few people who are not even able to speak about this matter or this topic because there is a sense of guilt And there's also a sense of reciprocation, because sometimes we are emotionally drained into this topic. Because, for example, the parents will say, I sent you to school to be who you are today is because of me. So you feel obliged to make sure that you continue to give. There was one time when I was in Zimbabwe, I was driving to town, and there was a similar topic on the radio where parents often demand cars, houses, house extensions, and so on from their children. So this was actually my first time to call in. So the DJ, of course, opened the topic to everyone. And a lot of people were very surprised about my stance, because the question was, where do you draw the line when it comes to supporting your parents? So when I called in straight away in a soft voice, I said, well, to me, the line is drawn the moment I'm able to provide food, shelter, and clothing. Everything else is just overboard, especially if you can't afford it. Everything else is overboard. But of course, if you can afford it, then go for it. You can buy cars, you can buy stands, you can buy houses, you can extend the houses and so on for your parents. So a lot of people were actually surprised by that response, because I think it's a cultural thing that we have to just abide by those rules. So I went on to even say, personally, I find it hard for me to provide for my children, to provide for my wife, provide for my mom, and also take care of my goals, aspirations in life. Later on, my retirement. I mean, we are now, in fact, for me, I'm in my 40s. I mean, my retirement is soon. And there is no two ways about it. This has to be done. I have to do something about it, because if you think that in your retirement, people are going to come and give you a helping hand, you're wrong. Because what I've noticed, and this is something that I find very interesting. When you go back home on the ground, you speak to people, you start hearing all these little rumors that, look at him, he's been in the diaspora for more than 20 years, more than 15 years, he's got nothing here. But the same people are forgetting that you've been sending money every single month for their upkeep. I just find it so disturbing. The mentality of Zimbabweans is so shocking and unbelievable. It's this sense of entitlement. And for me, the fact that I've been there on the ground, you find that, as a single person or even a small family, $200 is enough for the whole month, is enough. But again, there's also this mentality that when you start buying all these processed foods, that means that you're making it, and that means you're living a very healthy lifestyle. But this is pure ignorance. I respect those people that grow vegetables in the back garden, or even have a few chickens for their eggs and so on and so forth, because it just lowers the bills, especially if you live in the main city. But this idea that someone can continue to have children while they don't have a job, that to me is very disturbing. 3, 4, 5, 6 kids. When it's time for school fees, the call will come. Can I borrow some money? As if you're going to pay it back. I've heard all these stories. A child will go to all these high-end schools, top high-end schools, private schools, and expect someone in the diaspora, an aunt, an uncle, a brother, a sister, to just pay $3,000 a term, $2,000 a term, to just pay. That to me is shocking. Now, the next person is the type of person that makes very bad decisions in their life. They'll go drink, they will smoke, they will have so many affairs. And then when things go bad, guess what? The phone call will come and you're supposed to be the savior. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because if you're in one of those situations, I don't know, you might need to find a way to get out of it. Because if it's not treated, it's like sitting on a nail, you know? You're sitting on a nail, it's painful, and you continue sitting and complain instead of just getting off the nail. We complain. Or, and this is the worst one, we just keep it in. We just boil inside, you know? Boil inside, because if you say something, you know that it's going to be it's going to be treated with a lot of negativity. Sometimes the whole family might even gang against you. And this is very, very, very sad. Now, there's also another thing which I find very disturbing in the Zimbabwean community. I don't know how it is in the other communities. And that is this idea of going to these prophets and they prophesize that, oh, this is happening in your life. Have you asked yourself why it's all about bad news? It's either we see that you are going to be sick or you're going to die, therefore you have to do all these extra prayers. Death is inevitable. What, are we not supposed to die? People die every day. Even here in England, people are dying every day. So, and these prophets are not there. If these prophets stop death, then I can understand why there'll be such an obsession. But what I realized is when it comes to Zimbabweans, if you want to get into an argument with your spouse, with your parents, with your siblings, it all comes down to your money. It's all about your money. You start getting lectures on how you're so irresponsible. You start getting lectures on why you're not pulling up your socks. I mean, it all comes down to you. And sometimes even when you need things done on the ground in Zimbabwe, sometimes basic things that you ask for are never done. Yet every month you'll be sending 2,000-3,000 US dollars. But you ask for something so basic. Even just sending someone to just do something. It's you have to ask 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times before it's even done. And by the time you get to that stage, you're the unreasonable one because you keep asking. So what's the relationship? Where's the relationship there that we have with people back home? I'm beginning to think that if we are not careful, we're going to have a retirement that is so painful and so lonely, because you can't go against the mentality of how people think right now. It's almost like people are entitled to how much you earn and what you do. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm saying this because when I discuss behind the scenes with a lot of people, these are the the type of issues that we're discussing. Immediate brothers, irresponsible. Uncles, irresponsible. Sometimes even wives, lazy. But that same Zimbabwe is the one that we are saying there's a lot of opportunities. You know, you tell someone, go and look for a job. And the job we're talking about here is not a job where you have to be in the office. I'm talking about survival here. And the jobs are there. There are so many building sites in Zimbabwe right now. Building is crazy. So you can even be an apprentice. Electrical work, building, plumbing, you name it. Some people even have rural homes We're going into the rainy season now. But the moment you mention that, oh, you know what? If you plant anything this season, this rainy season, you won't hear anything positive coming from that. And yet we hear that if you grow vegetable, cabbages, you name it, you can at least make a bit of money. And that money can be used towards your what? Your school fees that you call every now and again to get covered. So this idea that a grown man, 30s, 40s, messes up and expects another man to take on that responsibility, that is very disturbing. Let me know in the comments box below.